In this video, we'll learn how to create a status column in Loocey and go over the settings and options available for status columns. There are two ways to create a column in Loocey. We can either open the context menu of an existing column and click on Add Column to Right, or we can click on the plus sign at the end of the table and select Status. The difference is that with the plus sign, it'll already select the column type for us. With the first option, we'll need to choose the column type from the dropdown. We can enter the display name and click on Add if we want to use the default settings. By default, this creates a color-coded status column where we can click a cell and pick one status from the list. Let's add a few example statuses. For instance, Not Started, In Progress, and Completed. We can now click any cell in the column and select a status. Each one will appear with its own color styling, making it easy to scan in the table. We can customize these options further by editing the status list, assigning unique background and text colors to each status. Once saved, the new colors will be reflected instantly in the table. Status options are reorderable. Simply drag and drop to change the order in which they appear. The updated order will be available in the dropdown immediately. We can also add tooltips for individual statuses. This is helpful when you want to give extra context for a specific status. Only options with a tooltip will display it when hovered. Now let's explore another important status configuration, value type. This controls how the data behind each status is stored. You'll find this setting when you create a status column. If we choose integer from the value type dropdown and create a status column called task progress with statuses like not started, in progress, and completed, we can assign them values 1, 2, and 3. This is perfect when we want to sort or filter by logic, for example, incomplete tasks first and completed ones last. If we choose string from the value type dropdown and create a status column called ticket status with statuses like open, pending, and resolved, each status is stored as text. This is ideal when we need human-readable values or want to sync with another system that expects specific labels. If we choose GUID from the value type dropdown and create a status column called workflow, with statuses like draft, review, and published, each one gets stored with a unique internal ID. Even if we rename review to under review, the stored value stays the same, keeping backend stability intact. If we choose big integer from the value type dropdown and create a status column called approval level with statuses like level 1, level 2, and level 3, we can assign a value to the first status, and the system will automatically assign the remaining ones in increasing order. This is useful for technical integrations where the stored numbers need to be large. That's how status columns work in Loocey. Let's look at some of the other options while adding columns. The following examples will be for string column, but the options work the same way for other types as well. You can set a default value for a string column so that it's used for all new rows created in this list. For example, if you want every new row to start with a specific label like new entry, you can enter that here. This way, each time you create a new row, the string column will automatically be filled with that unless you change it manually. Next, the required option, just like the name implies, makes a column a required field when creating or updating records. By default, the name column is required. If we want to mark the string column as required, we'll also need to set a default value. This ensures the column always has a valid entry when new records are created. If we mark another column, in this case, string, as required, the Add Item input box will change into a button link. Then, when we click on either the Add Item link or the new button at the top, the system will open a dialog showing all required column inputs. Let's add another record and enter the values for the required columns in the dialog, then click on Create. The record will be added along with the values for all the required columns. This design of keeping track of required columns helps keep our table consistent and prevents invalid data entries. The isNull flag is a somewhat technical term, which simply means that if no default value is entered, this column will allow nulls instead of a value. Again, this is a database term, and it's okay if you leave it the default. Note that when we switch off the isNull option, the default value field will become required, as now the column requires a default value. This is because if you already have data in your list and if you turn off the null option, this column will need to be populated with another value, otherwise, we would get an error in the database. That's it for today. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to be notified when we release new tutorials. Thanks for watching and see you next time.